Well, a whole lot is happening on the continent. Keep in mind, it's just only recently that the Zambians have an election done and dusted with a new president. But for many reasons, the year 2023 matters a lot to Nigeria's political future and democratic existence. Many Nigerians believe it holds the key to opening new doors and repositioning the country to where it should belong. Now, with the unity of the country tested more than ever and citizens expressing displeasure with the current state of things, the energy of the next election matters a lot to places that will be on the ballot in less than 2 years' time. The calculations have begun in full swing, permutations are happening by the hour, and possible combinations are being considered. The season is upon everyone in Nigeria. Welcome to VSA. I'm Sulaiman. Also in South Africa, the council elections, or you call the county elections, are on. And of course, the grassroots politicians are already making incursion. We'll bring you pretty much later updates on that. Now, less than 2 years away from now, barring any unforeseen change in dates, Nigerians will go to the polls again to elect a new president in February 2023. President Muhammadu Buhari's 6 years in power has had more critics than supporters. Now, insecurity, corruption, and an economic downturn have done very little to make Nigerians wish for more. 2023, as far as Nigerians are concerned, can't come any earlier, and the parties have begun their calculations. Old enemies are becoming new friends. Critics of old are now hobnobbing with the newly discovered brothers. The zonal marking is in full effect, and names and faces are emerging. Now, regions are raising their hands for recognition. Political divides are pitching tents together. National leaders, former presidents, incumbent governors are all stating their positions on the way forward. Nigerians across the length and breadth of the country are beginning to catch the fever, engage in discussions, and this is where the conversations start. With me in the studio is a legal practitioner and political analyst, Kenneth Odidika. And virtually, I have Taofik Gani, who is the Lagos State People's Democratic Party Publicity Secretary. Gentlemen, good to have both of you here with me in the studios. Let me start with you, Odidika. Good to see you. And first again, this is your first with us here on News Central. Thank you very much for obliging us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You know, looking at what's happening, some say the 2023 election can be likened to what Nigerians saw in 1993 in terms of importance, looking at change. Perhaps you'd let us in if you share in that. What makes the 2023 elections very integral to the future of Nigeria?
Thank you very much for having me, Sulai. 2023 election, presidential election in Nigeria, is a do-or-die affair. The way it is this. If Nigerians do not get it right this time, there might not be a Nigeria after that. In fact, we have to pray and work towards ensuring that there is a Nigeria by that 2023 February election. General Muhammadu Buhari has done incalculable damage to the structure of Nigeria, to the very fabric of this country. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. I'm a lawyer, a very senior one at that. I have children. I have relations. I have friends. So I have one country, only one country. I have only one passport, and that is Nigeria. I will live and die here. So having observed all that's been happening, I am not actually very surprised that they are happening, because we had warned that these things would happen this way. It's in the nature of the person to do that which he does. Snakes bite. Scorpions sting. That's their nature. No matter how much you want to change, unfortunately you can't. They will do those things.
You really think, there's a button there before I go to Gani Taofik, you really think this is about the president?
Yes, yes.
President Buhari?
Correct. Because the way Nigeria has become so polarized, you might, like I said, you might not even have Nigeria really, strictly speaking, to vote in a president. So even where there remains that Nigeria, if Nigerians themselves do not properly advise themselves, counsel themselves, they will end up finally destroying the country. Because all these jostlings going on, as usual, are being done by our extremely exceptional, exceedingly selfish politicians. There is no consideration of Nigeria and Nigerians in all these things they're doing. It's all about themselves. They and they alone. So it is now left for the rest of Nigeria, the rest of Nigerians, to determine to salvage the situation or go down with it. 2023 is a do or die.
Let me bring in a politician now. Taofik, Gani, thanks again for your time. You've heard Kenneth Odidika on this. How important is 2023? Do you share in his standpoint? Well, it doesn't look like Taofik can hear me. But Taofik, I'll take that again if you can hear me, Taofik. And I'm hoping that you should also be able to unmute and get to hear what I'm saying, if you can hear me. We're asking your own views towards the 2023 election as a politician and also a member of the opposition PDP. Well, I think we'll wait until we establish connection with Taofik. Now, you said something about the president, and you said it's in the nature of the president. And you also warned that if Nigerians are not careful, they may not have a country before that election. And tell us that there are things that would have made you say these. You know, are there any I'm trying to look at, first, I know that one of the key things people will always want to talk about is the insecurity, around the country, which we'll also talk about. But other than that, are there things that warrant you saying that there just might not be a country called Nigeria if the country can't actually walk the talk?
Well, it's surprising you're saying we should leave insecurity.
No, I didn't. No, I said, yes, we'll come back to it.
You see, if I'm dead, what are you telling me about any country? I'm dead, I'm dead. So insecurity is it. You can't invest. You, the Nigerian, can't really invest. The foreigner cannot invest. The economy is actually in doldrums. If we want to be honest with ourselves, we are living daily, we're existing. We're hoping that tomorrow we'll still be alive and do something else. And please, here, I'm not being religious about, you don't know about tomorrow. If you plan properly, you know about tomorrow. As it is today, you can't even plan. There's no economic team, strictly speaking. Because we don't see anything on the ground to show there's any economic team advising President Muhammadu Buhari. His own shortcomings are so glaring. You see, it is one thing not to have the capability and the capacity to deliver on anything. It's worse when you can't even appoint the appropriate, proper people to deliver.
Constitutionally speaking, how powerful is the president of Nigeria? Because if you say all of this, sometimes some people will say, but you have the vice president, you have governors, you have ministers, How is it that everything rests on one man?
Actually, Nigeria's president is about the most powerful president in the world. He does and does as he likes. Because the first thing they normally do is to take the National Assembly and put, not even in their pocket, I don't know where they put them, maybe in their shoe before they put on their socks and wear the shoe. And this National Assembly we have is the worst Nigeria has ever had. I'm 62 years old. I was 8 years when, in 1967, when this Biafra war started. I was 7 years in 1966 when I saw bodies being shipped down in trucks, cut into pieces. What I now call South, not Southeast, former Eastern region. because that's south, east, south, south, and rivers and all that. Now, I was there. Gowon left, Obasanjo came, and all of them, including the current president. I'm talking about as military people. If you recall, when General Buhari was overthrown, the incoming president, General Baramusi Babangida, said clearly why they removed him, why he had to go. And there was actually jubilation. Starvation was the talk of the town then. You couldn't get anything to eat. Essential commodity queuing up and not even say anything. In fact, even the things you get will be from shops looted officially. Igbo shops looted. Shops of Igbo people looted officially to now seize the things they had to now be distributed to Nigerians.
So let me get something here clearly. When you say officially,
that's government. Soldiers went and broke those shops and brought out the things. Those are the things that people were being given
at that time.
Yes. So I'm not saying what I read in history books. So I've been observing this president. I observed him as a then commissioner, federal commissioner. That's the title for now. They call him minister now of petroleum. He was also a governor of one large state. Then has been broken into several states now. And it's always been the same story. Nothing has changed. So it's not a matter of body language. It's who he is. He doesn't have it in him to engender unity. He doesn't have it. It's not possible. He is so, and with due respect, I'm using the word because those are the correct English words to use. He is not farsighted. He's myopic. He only sees, he's very parochial. I'm using it, please, this with all due respect to him as an elder person and to the office he holds. But that is the true situation of things. And unfortunately for Nigerians, our politicians, particularly the leading politicians, do not even see beyond their noses. All they're dancing to is dancing to a tune, hoping that they will benefit. Oh, they will win, or they will give them appointments, make them ministers, make them...
Because that's the whole essence why I'm asking how powerful the office or the man who occupies the office
is.
The
VP has no power whatsoever, as we have seen. The president is all powerful. And where ordinarily you should challenge him is, if you recollect, I think it was on channels when they went to invade the houses of the Supreme Court judges. I can't see how you see a Supreme Court judge that's less than 50 years. I don't know how you manage it. I don't think it's possible. So these are old people who you can just call on the phone and say, please come report at so at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and they will come there. You went to break into their homes at midnight and 1 a.m. It was clearly to intimidate them. And I said it then. And I said it didn't augur and will not augur well for Nigeria because the judiciary was being cowed. The current Chief Justice of Nigeria is my classmate. And I said then, and I maintain, his ascension to that position, good, now normalized and all, but to me, that the route to that ascension was faulty. And I still maintain that till tomorrow.
So we'll talk more about...
So they were setting up the judiciary to be able to be doing whatever they liked. Because they're already taking the National Assembly and putting in their socks. And then, so they also cow the judiciary. So where do you find solution? President can do whatever he likes and get away with it. Because
now you've just touched on a whole lot. You've touched on the three arms of government.
Yes.
The executive, the judiciary, the legislature.
Correct.
Which you say is somehow in the shoes of the man who occupies the presidency. And also, you also talked about the economy and some other key issues. And insecurity. We'll come back so that we can expatiate more on that. Taofik, good to see that you're back and you can hear me now. And again, and I'm sure you also heard Mr. Odidika, in his opening statement there, talking about the importance of 2023. As a politician and as a member and spokesperson of the Lagos State People's Democratic Party, what's your take or your reading of the 2023 election? Because the permutations are on again, and people are seeing some kind of movement. Your party has lost some of its members, and vice versa. Some members from the APC are also moving to your party.
Good evening, Sulaiman. Happy to be on this media. I cannot agree less. The person there on that area of issue of the likelihood of the country not existing again if we do not get it right as a result of malpractice, maiming, killings, and several things out of desperation that I must be elected. That's talking about 2023 elections. I cannot just agree less. And that is why it is very important that Nigerians must start now to let the ruling party know that it must not be a desperate thing, that we have a precedent. The PDP had an incumbent president who, because he wanted to give free, fair, credible election, even at the risk of him being voted out, which has actually happened, he signed into law for elections to be so clearly seen and manifestly so clear, free, fair, credible. Now, if we go through all we have been having, and this is not because I am of the PDP, it is because we must say it as it is. They actually also said it as it was then, and that is why I find it very laughable when we say it now and they begin to say that we are anti the government. You know, we say it as it is. The truth of the matter is that in recent times, especially after the emergence of this ruling APC, we have not had any such election that can be said to be free, fair, credible. We have not had, and the record is there. And that is why so many people are afraid. I am not afraid because if we talk of the Nigerian politician, we are most times commonly of same interest. But you know, my fear is this: the Nigerian state that exists now, that has unfortunately come about because of this ruling APC and the lackadaisical style of administration, you find foreigners already taking charge of the country. We're deceiving ourselves by blackmailing an ethnic group. This ethnic group, yes, is said to be worldwide or in some major areas around Africa. But the truth of it is, the way I see it, some foreigners are already in control of part of the country that will make it very easy for them. And they're waiting for that timing bomb that is ticking already. If we do not manage the 2023 elections well, they will come into this country, they will take those parts that they want, and then even the politician will not have anywhere to govern. And so it is very, very imperative.
Let me come in here quickly, Gani, before I come back to Mr. Odidika. You know, now that you know the risk and you are also, you know, on the same train of thoughts with Mr. Odidika, what, as a politician or as a ruling party, would you think should be the way forward? Because as it stands now, it looks like the same of the same. Politicking is really ongoing. We've seen people dropping names of who should be where and where. Are there anything you would want to share with Nigerians that would mean a departure from the normal, which hasn't actually been beneficial to the majority of the people?
I was going there and I'd even mentioned part of it. And if you heard me well, I said, at the twilight of election, an incumbent who even at the risk of being voted out, gave to Nigerians the law that produced free, fair, credible election. I mean, for the sake of this discussion, and the results have been announced anyway, let us take it that it was free, fair, credible election as a result of that effort by the incumbent president. That means that if we use that as an example, it means that there is this partner that what we have been having as a result of elections under this ruling APC, local government election, by-election, runoff, reruns, local House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate, nothing is exciting. Nothing gives us the courage to say that 2023 we hold Nigeria together from elections. And as a politician and a member of PDP and opposition, indeed, the most potent opposition for now, I can tell you that if all that we have suggested, right from 2015 up till now, and even in the recent one that was issued by the National Public Secretary, if they are not taken as coming from the opposition, if they are taken in good faith, Nigeria will have free, fair, credible election. One of such is that, you see, you cannot have the INEC that we have presently and you will expect free, fair, credible election. You can imagine the so manifested desperation where the answer to the president was even nominated to be on the seat as a member of INEC. And there was this justification and all the rest trying to rationalize that she's not a politician. When everybody knows when she wears even the APC Galenga. To me, I think Nigerians, and I did say it the other time, Nigerians must rise up above every politician. In fact, they can start to do it from the world.
Let me bring in, apologies again, let me bring in Mr. Odidika, because he's already come to where you left off the very first time, that Nigerians must rise up. And that's where we're headed now. We'll still be looking at some of those previous issues you raised. But again, when we talk about Nigerians taking charge, one wonders, because listening to you, taking us back memory lane for other Africans watching, reminding us of what we saw, you know, the bust of judges, and of course, talking about the National Assembly, and how you've sort of described this particular assembly as the most docile, the worst in the history of Nigeria's democracy. What are those things you expect? Because if you look at it, politicians speak in a way that Africans find it very difficult to understand. If they're on side A, they make it look like when they get on, you know, on the ship, they will actually be different. And I'm amazed, and pretty much that I will ask Gani how it's been like, because Gani has been in the opposition for as long as I know him and the PDP. Because how is it that in Nigeria and some parts of Africa, African politicians can't actually stay in the opposition, ensure that their ideologies, well, ultimately will pay off, if at all it does, someday?
First of all, there has to be an ideology.
There has to be an ideology.
Good, for it to want it to pay off. The only ideology these people have is their stomach. And when I say their stomach, I don't mean their stomach what they can eat, because the level of brigandage is criminal. It is obscene. And let's just get it right. PDP, APC, same thing. Who are the people in APC? Name them now. Who are the people in APC? They were all, most of them were all in PDP. These are just vehicles, names, nomenclature. Oh, party B goes to win election. That's why they don't even bother changing clothes again. You know, I would say, oh, they will change their abada and put on the khaki. Now they just wear the same thing and go over to their side. Simple. Because they are their friends, their brothers, they are colleagues in terrorizing Nigeria. Because actually, the real terrorists are these politicians. They are the real terrorists. They create the atmosphere, the environment for the terrorism to thrive. And they feed it. But like I said, we'll get to insecurity later. So, when this National Assembly was being inaugurated, the President of Senate, in his own words, but let me paraphrase it, there is nothing this president wants I will not give him. Those are my own words, but that's the paraphrasing of what Lawan, right, said. I think he's Dr. Lawan, so he has a PhD, he's supposed to be a PhD. Well, he says a lot for the kind of education we have in this country. President of Senate. Nobody says you should go and start punching with the President of Federation. But to announce, prior to your actually assuming responsibilities, that there is nothing the President of the country wants, you will not give him. You don't even know what it is he's going to come with. So are you surprised that before the man said, I need $10 billion, they are approving it? Before if Muhammadu Buhari today sends a madman, they will confirm him as minister or anything.
But again, you just said Taofik. He gave an example.
You want to go that route?
No, we're there already.
I don't want to say that closing people down.
No, Loretta Onitsha wasn't confirmed.
That's what I'm telling you.
So he tells you that.
You don't know that's politics they played with her? You don't know that's politics they played with her deliberately. So you people won't say we didn't. They played politics with Loretta Onitsha. They used her, dumped her. And she was a good material to be used and dumped. So deliberate. Haven't you seen worse? I mean, people who actually Loretta is just APC. Of course, she wear the APCs and all and say the things the way she says them, the way she knows best to say them. Don't blame her. Lack of proper education. However, there are people who were less qualified for their positions, even in terms of bias, that were confirmed. Loretta, first of all, comes from the wrong part of the country. She doesn't come from the north, does she? She doesn't. She's an Igbo woman, whether she had visited or not.
You still think this is also the north versus the south?
Oh, yes. And it's not even north-north, as in north versus the south. You see, north becomes one when it pleases the north, the Sharia north, the 12 states. Those 12 states that adopted Sharia, as against the constitution, which they all claim that is their constitution. Meanwhile, it went against Section 10, I think that's it, that talks about no religion shall be state religion. I adopted the religion and held on to it till today. Nobody's saying anything about it.
Because when we talk about the northern versus the south or the southeast, you know, sometimes one is tempted to think that this is also politics. Because, for instance, just recently, the government has just constituted the board of the NNPC. And they have 2 people from the southeast as members of the board. And no one is saying anything about that. 2 people from the southeast, members of the NNPC.
Yes, the chairman, and
yes.
then Marjorie Okadibo, Niebo, who I happen to know very well because her late husband was also my mentor, so to say, and my very, very good friend, senior friend. The chairman of NNPC becomes as powerful as the CEO allows him in Nigeria. Because the real chairman is who? The president. Now, in the circumstance, when you have Fulani as MD, CEO of NNPC, the chairman from the southeast, all they will do is they just give him his usual Land Cruiser, one other vehicle, and give him a few dollars and things like that. And that's the end of it.
But again, whether you like it or not, we have 2 people in the board.
Don't we have ministers?
So we have 2 people from the southeast in the board, and
yeah,
of course that is very key. And because some of the key things that will define the 2023 elections are what we'll be talking about when we come back from the break. We'll talk more on security issue, also talk about the call for the president to come from the southeast region, because we've, and also ask, even though you're from that region, to ask if you are in support of that and what makes you think that that's a good call. And also, Gani will also be letting us in on what the PDP thinks of that call. That will be when we return. Join us again. Well, Nigeria's recent polarity has further made the 2023 elections one to look out for, with the potential president expected to be a man capable of uniting a badly divided house. You know, a potential southeastern president or candidacy in 2023 has been tinkered, but faces haven't been forthcoming in terms of national popularity. More than the allure of the country's highest office, there's also the need to build a formidable representative politics in the country. I still have with me Kenneth, Odidika, and Taofik, Gani. And of course, let's start with you, Taofik, Gani. The Southeast is taking a claim for a shot at the presidency, and both parties seem to agree with this. However, do you think any Southeasterner is strategically placed, maybe in your party or outside your party, to benefit from such thinking if executed?
Whatever I say on this will only be my personal opinion. But before that, I want to disagree with the person there. The APC is not the same as PDP. These are two different parties. These are two different ideologies. And let me just clarify that for sake of clarity. This blackmail was also said sometime, and we give them just one example, that while we were PDP and in government, that we had those persons who rushed to APC to defeat the PDP eventually, sacked out of the PDP. One very good example is a sitting minister who not only before becoming minister was even a senator. One of the things that we should not even encourage at all happened, and the then President Olusegun Obasanjo, you remember the Okija Shrine thing, and we as a we removed him. We had instances like that. Similarly, on so many other areas, you talk about the economy, where we had the expressly, the Okoje Iweala, the additional, and so many others brought in by the PDP, the Segun Aganga, and you want to equate that with what is happening under this ruling APC. I think it is fallacious and it's just blackmail, and it's just for anybody to want to say that the PDP is the same as APC, like they are sponsored so-called.
I'm happy you had the time to actually. I'm happy that you.
Is not the same as APC.
Quickly, now, I'm happy you had 1 minute. Allow me button here, Gani. A minute. Just allow me come in here quickly. I'm happy that you've been able to clear that. But again, what do you make of what many Nigerians are saying of former Minister of Aviation, Gani? Fani Kayode, who's just gone back to the APC.
What? I didn't hear you. Tell you.
I'm asking your opinion, because now you're speaking now, you say personal opinion. Yes. What's your personal opinion about the movement of Chief Femi Fani Kayode back to the APC from your party?
Can I say Lex, when the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, who was not only president and his appointment there was like father to him, told Nigerians that all you just need to do is give him a plate of food, and then you get his loyalty. There's no doubt about it that, to me, I can say this, though I regard him as an elder, because I'm a Yoruba person, he's Yoruba too. But the manner he has gone about all this has shown too clearly that he has a hidden agenda, and he has something disturbing him, and he feels that it is only being in the APC that he can get that sorted. But don't let me even waste time on that. With due regards to Mr. Femi Kayode, he's not a political governor. He talks, yes, he can talk, anybody can talk is cheap. But he's not. I challenge him, let him go and contest, let him go and sponsor somebody to contest councillorship in his ward. If he wins, I will join him. I challenge him, and this is something that because I have the record. I have friends who are from his place, and they can tell me about him. He has always been a foreign player. Now he's even leaving Taofik, going to register as a member of APC in the up north. So you see that there's an agenda. It goes beyond this issue of whether there's crisis PDP or not.
All right, so you were going to tell us about your personal take on the call for someone from the Southeast to be president.
Hello?
You are going to tell us your personal opinion on the call for a Southeasterner to be given the presidency ticket by any of the two big parties.
There's no reason why the Southeasterner should not be the next president of Nigeria. It is just unfortunate that some persons are not going about it a proper way. It's even making it scary that what is saying that if the president comes from the Southeast, this will happen. I don't know why they cannot call such young guys to order. The individuals, the elderly persons in Igbo land should call this person so that, I mean, those fears will be allayed. But you see, even talking about whether Southeasterner, let me come up with arguments. The type of persons that we need to govern this country now, as of now, should be those who are very, very business inclined. Those who can manage this economy and return it to where it was. It's not where we are going now is so bad. I needed some money today. Dollar is exchanged, as I speak to you, 565. And the north, the southwest, the south-south, we give to the southeast when it comes to business and management of economy. So that might be a funny argument, but it's a position that I hold very strongly. But like I said, this is my own personal opinion. If it is possible, and when I say it's possible, it's because I'm also charged by even the style of the Southeasterner. When they give them this opportunity now, you will see that we have more than 100 trying to contest, and then one person will come from another region, there will be block vote and they will lose. You saw when they had the opportunity of becoming Senate president. You saw how many Southeasterners who were Senate president for that office alone. So, but honestly speaking, the Southeasterners should enjoy that office. Not even when they have very, very competent hands. The Peter Obi of this world, the Soludo of this world, Okojo Ewala. These are female. We have so many Igbos.
Let me bring in Mr. Odidika again. Thank you. I'll come back to you, Taofik Gani, and you've heard him. And I actually wanted him to start because initially started by people from that region. You're also from the southeast region. But again, Taofik Gani, a Nigerian from Nigeria's southwest, is also saying that, look, there shouldn't be any need for someone to kick against that. Let us in on your own perspective on this.
You know, Taofik Gani is a politician. So he has talked like a politician. The reality on the ground is that a Southeasterner or South-Southerner being president of Nigeria is right there as president, as now president, not a presidential candidate, is at the mercy of certain forces that his people are not in control of. A Goodluck Jonathan was a typical example of that. Whether we like it or not, the way President Goodluck Jonathan was going about Nigeria's things, if we had allowed that to go on to his second term, we wouldn't be where we are today. He wasn't the noisemaker. He had his feelings. I mean, I have some.
When you say we wouldn't be here today,
oh yeah, Yakana will be here. Yakana will not be here. Insecurity will not be here.
Would it have been better?
Oh, much better, much better. You see, it's not a question of making noise and shouting about corruption. If there was corruption under Jonathan, then there's no name for what is going on now. There's no English word yet for it. If you call what went on in Jonathan's time corruption, what we have today is something else. You have to coin a new word for it. Now, and there are limitations placed on him or any such person ascending that position today from the southeast or south.
By who?
Now, there are power blocks. You know that. There are power blocks. You see, and even Olusegun Obasanjo, as powerful as we know he is, as much of, you know, Olusegun Obasanjo is, with respect, and I don't mean it in a negative way, is principality and power. Yet, he couldn't do certain things.
So did he?
But he tried.
Sorry, I hope you don't lose your train of thought so that we can continue. Is it safe to say there are political, more like the mafia in Nigeria?
You say anytime you want to. I was very plain about it. Certain powerful political blocks that determine what happened. And that is why Goodluck Jonathan told you that inside his government, he had what? Boko Haram. Did you say that? I'm not, I've always been a great fan of his, but at least where he did well, I could say he did well. He said it, and we are not seeing it. Is it still hidden? So Nigeria is not being run for Nigerians. Nigeria is being run for a certain group of people.
So what's your reading? Do you think these forces or these unmasked ones that are so powerful, do you think that they will be in support of the call for the Southeasterner to become president?
Even if you know what I'm saying, even if you bring in a Southeasterner, there are things there will be no-go areas for him. They will tell him who to make chief of what do you call it, minister of what do you call this thing? The chief of air staff, army staff. They will tell you who to make DSS DG, and so on and so forth. Now, if Nigeria had restructured before then you can get the best, as Taofik is saying now. Yes, they can bring you in, allow you certain areas of the economy to play with. So that before they will chop and steal it all off again, chop it and steal it off again.
I'm not just too pushy now, but are members of this force within the traditional rulers, politicians?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, you see, they're also in control of
business
violence. They determine how the violence will be applied. Coercion, physical and otherwise. And that is where their strength is. And they are united in their purpose.
So irrespective of political parties?
It's not a political what? I told you, political party is a vehicle. Particularly for them, for that group, it's all about we are in control. And they continue recruiting. As they age and die off, well, some have died, they're recruiting. Younger ones have joined them. They have spoken. You know, we talk about impunity. That is where impunity, that's why they can do what they like to do and you can't do anything about it. Can only speak English on social media and maybe the one we're speaking now. And you went to the best schools. If I'm concerned, the best school in any case, World University of Nigeria. I don't know what it is today. So your Harvard, your Cambridge, your everything. However, some of them also went to these same good schools. So you can't even say you are smarter than they are. But that's the mistake we make. You are not. They apply their own smartness for themselves and their group, while you want to apply your own for Nigeria. And they stop you. They don't want that.
How can they be stopped?
How they can be stopped is mass movement. This PDP, APC thing, two-horse race shouldn't be the topic at all. It is time Nigerians, particularly younger ones, who have the energy. You can't tell me to go and run 200 meters now for you. Well, you better keep an ambulance at the end of the other place. But these young ones now can say enough is enough. We are going to vote in XYZ. Yes, it belongs to one unknown party, totally irrelevant. And issue good enough advice. If this thing is overturned, your private jets won't even get off the ground. Because you say, you have private jets, so you can take it. You're not going anywhere. Because people are suffering, both even in the south and the north. The only thing is that these people are living in a cocoon. They are safe. They have protection. But I can assure you that if the Hausas in the north who are suffering decide to move against them, the private jets cannot take off the ground. Same thing all over the place. So it is for the youth, younger ones, to decide, you know what, this nonsense just has to stop. We are voting in somebody who we believe can actually govern this country, turn things around. Look at what you're talking about. I've castigated IPOP, written about them on social media and all that. If that was even before the sit at home, which doesn't make sense to me till tomorrow anyway. Even before that, I was already castigating them. But how come before these boys shot one bullet, you already said they were terrorists? We have people who come out on national television to say that they did this, they bombed here, they bombed the other place, and they will do this, and if you don't do this, this will happen. And you have still not labeled them anything. Rather, you people are going to carry our money and give to them to buy more arms and ammunition.
Let me bring in Taofik here, because Taofik, you've heard Kenneth Odidika. I want your comment on what he said, but again, quickly, as a politician, the online voter registration by the Independent National Electoral Commission has just been closed today, and well, for young first-time voters, how can they also be a part of some of the key things Kenneth Odidika has raised, be a part of the process, a change movement for Nigeria?
Well, it will be my own joy for us to have younger persons control. And this is not to disparage the older ones. We still need their wisdom, still need their guide. We need their check. But my fear is this. Unfortunately, because we have had young ones controlling some parastatals, some local governments, the assembly is filled with young ones. In fact, we have had some young governors. They're not really, because I don't want to mention it, because this is not campaign and this is not something somebody should look at that is PDP talking. But we have one or two governors who are young, and in those states, the way and manner they're going about it, they're getting too maybe overzealous or too excited by that office. Because if we have the young being in the office, like Senate president being a young one, like the president of Nigeria being a young one. Like I'm talking about young, I mean like 45, 50 maximum in age. We definitely will be able to sort a lot of things, because I also think that also because of the age bracket released already, I also think that we have problems because we have relegated the young ones. It is also for the young ones to also charge themselves, because unfortunately, even some of them are already aligned with these same old politicians. And the only time they see them, whether they are musicians, whether they are celebrities, we know them. The only time, because they also come to my party as a member of PDP, I can tell you that they come, the only time they want to be part of the system to speak against the ruling party is because they can get something from the opposition. And if they want to kill the opposition also, is because they get something from the ruling party. We know them, the musicians, the celebrities, and the so-called activists. So if we can get that area right, the very honest young ones, if they come up, they will be able to manage this country. See, I was talking seriously, but at a jocular level, and I said, I am not going to be sinful by berating President Muhammadu Buhari. The truth of the matter is, this man is just not fit. He can't. And when people say even intellectually advanced, it's not like everybody is berating any president. It is manifestly clear. It is something anybody can see. Look at how many times Professor Oshibajo, this is even at the reach of supporting Oshibajo, even as a, look at how many times he goes, not only that he is fit physically, he talks intellectually, he is not afraid of going to any symposium, any forum, he talks, he speaks, he convinces people. But how many times have I had my own president? The only time he wants to speak, they will have written it and it will be so delivered in so very, very disgraceful manner. The truth of the matter is that by what we have experienced now, especially this ruling APC government president, we also should start to push for the younger ones to control the hands of affairs. So that
let me bring it here, Taofik.
At the rate that in the other world.
Sorry to butt in here because we're almost out of time. Let me bring it back to the studio here so that we can close this with Kenneth Odidika. The good thing is that some people will not be on the ballot in 2023 because now we're talking about having a new set of people who will activate some of the key things you've highlighted. But I did say I was going to leave this for last for you. Before we leave, if we can do this in the next 2 minutes, do you have an idea of how Nigeria should have handled the security problems bedeviling every region, so to speak?
It's massive poverty. even the expansionism that's being stated that the Fulanis want to have expansionist tendencies or inclination is still being fueled by massive poverty. That's why you have insecurity. That's it. If things are working properly, you don't have the kind of insecurity you have today. And again, that's why I talked about the man at the helm of affairs. If I feel completely left out, really, from what should be, then what stake do I really have in that thing you're doing? And that is why, you see, this 1999 constitution that they foisted on us was well planned and plotted. There are things that they will tell you, no, you can't, it's all right, but you can't go to court over them. Oh, there has to be geographical spread, properly done, but you can't go to court to enforce it. It's there in your constitution. So what kind of right is that? That is why the General Muhammad Buhari can appoint everybody, apart from ministers, which is provided clearly that every state must have. He can appoint every other person from his village. And you can't go to court over it. It's in the Constitution. But the same Constitution says that those areas are not justiciable.
So how can, quickly here, how can
we need
poverty, how can this poverty which you have identified be taken out, sir?
You need good money. You need thinkers. You need strategists who think for Nigeria, who strategize for Nigeria, not for their pockets and for their clans. This thing can be turned around so fast it will be like magic. Because how did it go down? We saw it going down. We saw it happening. It was as if it just fell on us. We saw it. So it can be reversed. But it can only be reversed by somebody who knows, and who knows the other people to bring on board and give them free hand to run the affairs of this country. Without, if anything short of this, we'll pray. That's what we're good at.
Well, it's a fine place. Kenneth Odidika, legal practitioner, and Taofik, Gani, Lagos State PDP Publicity Secretary. Many thanks for your time. The power to make a great nation still belongs to the people. Just by listening to both of you, you've highlighted that much. If your votes don't matter, they won't pay to buy it. So your vote matters. Get your voter card and be a part of the future. I'm Sulaiman Alede. Tomorrow again, we'll be back. See you then.